Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to the continuation of Bryar Rose. So Nox has just saved her from this pack of wolves and now they're driving. They don't know, well she doesn't know where she's going, but I think they're going to go to T's house because T set her up, remember, so this other pack of wolves would attack her and Nox came in and saved her. So that's just a recap. Let's carry on with the story. I stay conked out and comfortable until sunlight blazes onto my closed eyes. I flip my arm over my face, block out the brightness, and try to get comfy again. It isn't easy. I'm sprawled across the front seat of the Fiat, with my legs jammed onto the dashboard and my head smooshed against the passenger side door. Huh? My sleepy brain tries to process all this. How is Nox driving exactly? My left leg uses the steering wheel as a footrest. My eyes flutter open. We're definitely not driving anymore. Nox isn't even in the car. I scrub my hands over my face. Where am I again? The last thing I remember, Nox and I were driving away from the Boucheroux farm and into the night. I must have slept longer than I thought. Craning my totally cramped up neck, I see that Nox has parked us before a fancy iron gate somewhere in the countryside that possibly screams France. The roads are lined with quaint houses that might have fallen out of a fairy tale. Everywhere the buildings are made from heavy wooden frames, filled in with white plaster and topped by overly pointy roofs. There's even an old man on a bicycle with a baguette strapped behind him. The town isn't what interests me, though. Beyond the gate, a gravel road winds up to the side of a cliff. Atop the mountain, there stands a castle. It's another fairy tale classic, a sprawling structure with a grey facade and skinny windows. Everywhere you look, the castle is lined with stone turrets that end in tiny conical roofs. At the centre of the ground floor, there's a seriously huge set of wooden doors, which are most definitely closed. Around the castle itself, the cliffside has been crammed with dozens of fountains and small, perfectly manicured lawns. Topiaries are everywhere, and for some reason, they're all snipped into the shape of fish. Not that I'm an expert in clipped-up tree bushes, but that does seem odd. Nox stands with his back to me, gripping the bars of the main gate and staring up at the castle. I want to call out to him, but I'm sort of jammed in an odd position. Some conversations are best had when your leg isn't wound around a steering wheel, especially ones that cover topics like, is this a sightseeing stop, or does T really live here? And if T is here, since when does anyone have an ex-girlfriend who lives in a castle in France? Long story short, I need to get myself upright for this conversation. Since I'm stuck in an odd position, it takes me some work to get unstuck. As I shift around, my foot gets caught in the steering wheel. The car horn gives out a friendly toot toot. Hearing the noise, Nox turns around and smiles. The sight makes me both happy and miserable. Nox's health has certainly taken a nosedive since last night. All the colour is drained from his skin. A pang of guilt tightens my stomach. Nox was better last night. He's sicker today. Either T is casting a spell to make Nox sick, or Az is right about the magic. Magic is somehow punishing Nox for finding a mate instead of the fountain. Whichever way I look at it, the situation isn't good. Plus another night has passed, so the equinox is only 2 days away. Correction, the situation is looking worse. Nox stalks over to the car, grips the roof and leans into the side window. How are you feeling? He taps the window frame. I left this open to give you some air. Thanks. It must have worked. I really slept hard. Narrowing my eyes, I scan his face. Now that Nox's face is only a few inches from mine, I don't like how the veins have popped out on his forehead and neck. How about you? No worries. I slip my palm against his bristled cheek. I still do worry. Nox kisses my palm, which is why you're my girl. He exhales a long breath. I need to explain about this place, but there isn't a lot of time. Okay. Blinking hard, I tried to get the sleep out of my brain. This seems like an important conversation, and I'm totally not awake yet. Even my wolf is still snoozing. Plus, my stomach is growling. I'm hoping there's a chance to get a croissant or something before we get into anything too intense. Not a lot of time? I ask, through a yawn. What do you mean? Oh. The horn. They definitely would have heard that. They? It's still taking me longer than usual to catch on to things here. Oh, you mean the people who live in the castle? Yeah, them. I never told you my fairy tale life template. The edge of a growl creeps into his voice. I don't need to catch Knox's scent to know that whatever his fairy tale life template is, it saddens him. Inside me, my wolf yawns awake as well. That terrible principal asked our mate the same question at school, she says. We don't care what Knox's template is. Knox tilts his head. Does your wolf have something to say about that? As a matter of fact, she does. And I believe the same thing too. It doesn't matter what your fairy tale life template is. You're with me now. We make up our own story. That we do, Bry. Those are the words Knox says, but I can still scent the acidity of his worry. My shifty hearing picks up a new sound. Soft wooden creaks. The main doorway is open into the castle above. What has you worried? I ask. The people who live in the castle. Not all of them, says Knox, slowly. Just one. My eyes widen as more of my thoughts come into focus. So your ex does live here? Yeah, she does. My pulse flutters with this news, and not because it's a surprise. The whole reason we're driving here was to confront T. Knox's ex was supposed to hand over the Codex Mechanica last night at Boucherou. Instead, she tricked some French wares into attacking me. Honestly, I'm not worried that my wolf will do when she meets T. My inner animal is rather protective. All of a sudden, the castle seems to loom taller on its cliff top. I'm not sure where I pictured T living, but it's definitely not a castle. Knox inhales. You smell the anxiety. Does seeing T worry you? I hold my thumb and forefinger an inch apart. Only a little bit, and that's because of my wolf. As if on cue, my inner wolf yips with glee. T is bad. She makes our mate angry. Now we'll raid her stone den and bite her. It's amazing how my wolf can go from barely awake to ready to bite ex-girlfriends in 30 seconds or less. Over the past months, I've learned to nip these ideas early. When I next speak to my wolf, I take care to use my no-nonsense voice. Get that idea out of your head, fur girl. A small smile rounds Knox's full lips. Fur girl? I pop my hand over my mouth. I said that out loud, didn't I? For the umpteenth time. Yeah. Knox's smile broadens. Don't worry, it's cute. My inner wolf preens. Our mate is the best. Agreed, I reply in my mind. Back in the outside world, I can't help but match Knox's grin. Actually, it's my big, bad inner werewolf. I'm trying to keep her in line. Even cuter. What's she want to do? That would be... I try to think of a subtle way of expressing this, but come up empty. She wants to bite T's face off. Knox chuckles. I'd like to see that. With a loud thud, the main gate finally swings open. A small army of servants pours out from the castle and starts heading our way. Even from a distance, I can tell that they're a rather fancy crowd of servants. All the men sport dark suits with cravats, while the ladies wear grey dresses with poofy maid hats. I scan the group for someone who might look like ex-girlfriend material. I come up empty. Knox told me that T was our age. All these servants have grey hair. Inside my soul, my wolf growls with displeasure. It's the one who angers our mate, drawing closer. Can I chomp her? No, and no, I reply in my head. Please? I just want to bite off her ankle. The answer is still no. For once, that reply is in my mind. Besides, she isn't even here yet. Fine. My inner wolf animal huffs out a frustrated breath. I can wait. Knox eyes me carefully through the car window. Your wolf still feeling chatty? I nod. In case you're wondering, she'd be happy biting off T's ankle? My inner animal chimes in again. What's wrong with that? Asks my wolf. She's got 2 ankles. She doesn't need them both. This time, I decide to ignore my wolf. Engaging with her about whether T needs 2 ankles is not a conversation that will end well anyway. Ankles? Knox says. Got it. He lowers his voice. Are you still good? We can come back later if you need some time with your animal. He cracks his neck from side to side. And tell the truth, we could both probably use a good run. Long car rides and wild animals don't mix, yeah? Look, I'm fine, I assure him. My wolf's definitely under control. Inside my mind, my inner animal is not dropping the issue. What about a finger, then? She's got 9 of those and 2 thumbs. Knox gives me a side eye. You sure? He asks. Honestly, I'd rather get this over with. She's got 8 fingers, guys, and 2 thumbs. Why it says 9, I don't know. That results in more side eye. Not even one quick run. My mate is always protective about giving our animal time in the wild. Both my wolf and I are fine, absolutely. Inside my mind, my wolf is definitely not giving up if you won't let me have a finger. How about a toe? Now, this has gone on long enough that I can't ignore it. If you keep talking about taking T's body parts, I'm going to have to put you in stasis. You wouldn't. Try me. Knox inhales. Your scent mixes aggression and determination. That's good. T's tricky, you know. I shrug. Tricky goes along with being a sorceress, right? Partly. Knox frowns. T's a little nutty too. Unfortunately, my mate is the master of understatement. If Knox is saying T is a little nutty, then that can only mean one thing. In other words, T is back crap crazy. Oh yeah. Knox glances over his shoulder. Here they come. The servants rush down the gravel driveway, a small cloud of dust puffing up behind them. For a bunch of older folks, this group is certainly spry. All the while, they chat away in rapid-fire French, so I try to catch some of their talk. Since I can only speak English, I can recognise Knox's name, and that's about it. It'll be great when I learn how to harness my witch power. Then I'll be able to cast translation spells for situations like this. Within seconds, the servants congregate by a small iron door off the side of the main gate. A super tall guy stands up front, a loop of old-fashioned keys in his veiny fist. After some jangling and stuff, tall guy unlocks the side door. Everyone races out to surround Knox. Turning around, my mate faces the group and starts to converse. Of course. Knox speaks perfect French because, well, that's Knox. I have no idea what's going on, apart from the fact that everybody's speaking French and seem incredibly happy to see my mate. Then I hear one thing I do recognise, a name. Reginald? My skin prickles into goose flesh. I must be hearing things. Then it happens again. Reggie? After that, I catch another word. Denari. Officially, this has become one conversation that I don't want to miss, and I can't have it in the car without some translation help. Gripping the handle, I start to open the door, but everyone is pressed up against the side of the Fiat in their efforts to encircle Knox. The whole situation is anxiety-inducing to my inner wolf. Denari. Mean danger. We must shift and run. My wolf has a point. At this moment, I can easily use my shifter strength to burst through the car door, but that's overkill, especially with this particular group of servants. Let me talk to them first, I reply. These servants don't smell like shifters. I could hurt them. But T could be nearby, counters my wolf. If we're in wolf form, we could get that too. And here we go again. My wolf has a one-track mind. We're not biting anyone's anything. Last warning. I cut my hand by my mouth. Hello there. No one replies. Instead, the servants all keep right on talking at once, at even higher volumes and always in French. Worse, Reggie and the Daria are definitely the highlight of the conversation. My pulse beats faster. Has Reggie been running around here, trying to help? Time to get some answers. I set both pinkies in either side of my mouth and let out a long whistle. Everyone quiets. Knox turns around. Laughter dances in his blue eyes. You want something, Bry? I heard the name Reggie. Sure thing. I'll fill you in. Knox turns to the group. Stand back, everybody. Make some room. The way he talks to the servants is more conversational than bossy. Maybe T owns his castle and Knox got to be buddies with the staff while they were dating. Seems reasonable. The servants step back and form a long, neat row. It must be part of their staff routine because I've never seen a group line up so quickly. There are about 20 servants in all, evenly split between men and women. All of them are staring at me, wide-eyed. I sniff the air. Cases like these, it's great to have a shifty sense of smell. In this case, a catch. Lemon of anxiety mixed with a flowery bloom of happiness. Most likely, these servants are pleased to see Knox, along with a little worried about how their mistress will handle the new girlfriend in the Fiat. Makes sense. If I were them, I'd worry about my boss freaking out too. Knox pulls the car door open. It swings open with a long creak. It's as if time slowed down as I make my way out of the Fiat and into the morning air. A blush crawls over my skin. For a moment, I wonder if I should get back in the car, but I shake the idea off. Knox knows these people. If he thinks it's okay for me to meet them, then it's fine. I straighten the folds on my black duster. I'm still in my incredible outfit from this morning. In fact, I even have my bracelet on in case I need to glamour myself into looking like I'm a regular schoolgirl. I shake my head. Was my first day at Westlake only yesterday? It seems like a million years ago. I clear my throat. Good morning, I say. All the servants start talking at once, in French, not helping. Knox raises his arms, palms forward, in the universal sign for stop right there. Whoa, guys, they quiet instantly. Bry here doesn't speak French, so you'll need to use English from here on out. Everyone nods, which I take as a good sign. Thank you, I say. First things first. Knox steps to my side and wraps his arm around my waist, pulling me closer to him. This is Bryar Rose. She's my mate. That news changes things for the servants. The scent of anxiety, which was pretty faint before, now becomes overwhelmingly strong. Still, if these folks worry about how their mistress will handle meeting Knox as a new mate, that's their problem. I need to find out if Reggie is running around the French countryside and causing trouble. And then there's the issue of finding the Codex Mechanica, but that will have to wait a minute. I focus on Knox. I heard the name Reggie before. Why? It might just be me, but it feels like the servants just reached an entirely new level of quiet. All eyes seem to be locked on me and Knox in a way that isn't entirely comfortable. They know something I don't. To begin with, says Knox slowly, I used to hunt Denari with tea. You did? Not sure why this surprises me, but it does. I guess I always pictured T as off somewhere, casting spells over cell phones, not doing something like, useful, killing zombie mummies. Sure, Knox continues. Back then, I hired folks to help me out, depending on the job. T is one of the best mercenary sorcerers around. She was with me when I first captured Reggie, and the two of them got to be friendly. I pursed my lips. Friendly. Reggie. Reggie only talks in creepy songs that he makes up on the fly. Is not really friend material. Anyway, E and T still hit it off, explains Knox. They're both, he bobs his head, trying to find the right words. Off their rocker? I ask. Yeah, that. I rub my neck, thinking through the implications of that bit of news. So when Reggie escaped last summer, you thought he might come here. Right, says Knox. That's when I reached out to these guys. Knox gestured to the line of servants. I asked them to give me the heads up if they noticed anything suspicious. They just finished telling me how they haven't seen anything out of the ordinary. The tallest servant, the guy who'd opened the side gate door with his key, steps forward. He's a lanky dude whose lean face is topped by an awful swoosh of grey hair. When he speaks, it's in a serious French accent. We've kept the watch just as you requested, my master. Now, that's one really thick French accent, but I can still understand what he says. Surprisingly, I'm pretty sure tall guy has just called Knox his master. I frown. Maybe I'm mishearing things. It has been a long 24 hours after all. Knox shakes his head. You know I don't like that name, Louis. The way Knox says the name, it's with a little accent as well. Louis? Oh, Apologies, replies Louis. We've kept the watch as you requested, sir. He bows a little after he says that last bit, as if he needs to make up for not saying master. It's taken me a little while, but I'm finally catching on to what's happening here. I turn to Knox. Is this your castle? A bit, of course, says Louis. He's a fairly chatty guy, now that he's broken the ice. As I said, Knox is a master. Technically, this is Az's place, says Knox. One of many. He left it to me. I open my mouth, ready to correct Knox, because actually, when you leave something to someone, it's not yours anymore. In other words, Knox is definitely the master of all these folks now, whatever that means. But I close my mouth instead. Knox is my mate, and we need to provide a united front, at least in front of his team. I can bring up "you've actually the master here" discussion later. Louis lifts his chin. Whatever you say, sir. Louis is definitely one of the chattier team members, shall we say. Shall we take you to see Mademoiselle T now? She is still in residence. The way he says in residence, it's clear that T didn't just stop by here on a whim. Knox's ex is living in his random French palace. This is getting complex. Inside my heart, my wolf paces in anger. That's not a good sign. T, growls my wolf. We hate her. And she's talking like Gollum again. An even worse sign. 1 second. Knox turns to me and lowers his voice. Sure you don't want to know my fairy tale life template? It's a good question. On the one hand, I'm super curious about this whole tea situation. However, the other hand, there are about 20 servants standing around, waiting to hear our personal business. Like the conversation about who owns what castle. It can wait. I stand behind what I said before. I lift my chin. I don't need to know your fairy tale life template. Knox leans in, brushing a gentle kiss across my lips. My knees turn wobbly. Thanks for that. Anytime, I wink. All right. Knox takes my hand, and together we head towards the castle. Get ready to meet my personal nightmare. That's what I think. Inside my soul, my wolf prances about with her tail held high. Our mate thinks tea is his personal nightmare. Good, good, good. We'll get to jump her face off soon. I know it. No, I counter in my mind. Chances are this will be bad, bad, bad. Tea is a sorceress and a nut job. We need to be careful. You'll ruin all my fun, my inner wolf grumbles. That does it. Tapping into my shift power, I pull the cords of golden energy inside me. My wolf instantly falls into a deep sleep. She's been warned to be careful. Now she's going into the equivalent of magical time out. No wolf and tea at the same time, thank you very much. After stepping through the gate's side door, Knox and I begin the long walk up to the castle. How did all these senior citizens speed down this driveway so quickly? Right now, every step feels like I'm treading through molasses. I straighten my shoulders. Who cares about some ex-girlfriend? Why should I worry? I fought Jules, the undead Roman general, and creepster extraordinaire. Plus, last night I battled werewolves with Knox at my side, and now my mate and I are reunited and loving it. We can face down one of the wall sorceresses, who used to be Knox's ex-girlfriend, and who still lives in his castle for some reason. Personal nightmare. Here I come. And that is the next chapter of Bryar Rose. Thank you for listening, and many blessings.